Welcome everybody. I'm Diana from Sew and Comment. Welcome into my channel where we create beautiful patchwork with our embroidery machine. That's right. We use our embroidery machine to create the actual patchwork, and then we use our embroidery machine to finish the quilting. And all you really need is a 5x7 hoop. You can use larger hoops. It allows you to do multiples and things like that. But to make your segment patchwork pieces, 5x7 hoop is all you really need. So excuse me if my voice comes and goes. I'm having a bit of a sinus migraine. We have a really bad storm moving in, which sets those off for me. So I'm trying to hold myself together. I'm so sorry. Let me adjust my camera just a little bit there. It seems to be up a little bit high. There we go. That's better. So this week, we are still in the month of June. So we're still talking about our block pattern of the month, the Spinning Argyle Diamond. And I'll be sharing with you towards the end of the day today how you can get your pattern, because you're going to need it for this week's project. That's right. I've got a project for us this week. It's a quick and simple, small project to do. And it's one of those things that as quilters and especially as machine embroiderers, we love to make. And I'll be showing you that in a minute. So here was my finished Spinning Argyle Diamond block from week 1. That's our basic block. But last week we used some of the parts from the Spinning Argyle Diamond and some of the parts from the Blooming Star block from last month. And we created this beautiful block because last week we were talking about how we can mix and match our patterns and our blocks and our pieces. If they belong to the same size block size, you usually can mix and match them and make lots of beautiful pieces. So that was last week's design that was created from this month's pattern and last month's pattern, which was the Spinning Argyle Diamond. I know I've got it sitting here. Let me see if I can grab that picture for you. There. This is the Blooming Star that we did in May. And so what we did is we took all of the parts for this Blooming Star and we just changed out the center. And for changing out the center, we added in 1/4 of this of the Spinning Argyle Diamond here in the center and made a completely different star. Isn't that pretty? I love it. I loved how that one turned out. And this month's largest size, they come in 3 sizes. You get all 3 sizes in your pattern set. But the largest one is 10 by 10. So we made this one in 10 by 10. And they go with all of the Riley Blake Block Challenge blocks that we did for the last couple of months. And that's done now. However, you can still get the entire block collection. And remember, all the Riley Blake patterns for that challenge were free in the Build a Quilt format. That is a whole set now available out on our website. And I'll show you that in a second as well. But are you ready to see this week's pattern? Or design this little project? It's a little mug rug. Didn't it turn out pretty? I love it. And all we did with this one, here's the picture of it, is we used the 2x2 squares. We used now, normally when we make a pinwheel, we use half square triangles, right? But this time we made 4 of these corner units. And by reversing them, instead of pointing outwards, pointing inwards, it created a pinwheel for us. Isn't that cool? I love the fact that we can use different types of segment pieces to make different things. Especially like some I keep right on my machine. So if I'm traveling and if I don't have one thing, there might be something else I have on there that I can do the same thing with. Excuse me, I'm going to take a little drink of coffee. I'm trying to keep my throat cleared. I didn't have much of a voice this morning. So today I have several little videos for you. I have a video for you that walks you through what you need to make and the layout of this for this little mug rug. This is actually a pretty good size mug rug. It ends up being 7 by 7 after it's finished. And I just finished it with an envelope backing. So there's a little video clip about making the envelope backing. And although you can choose any quilting design you want, I chose this medallion piece. Now I will actually show that to you because I didn't use the whole design, and you'll see me talk about that in the clip. This was the entire design, which I love. It's really pretty, but you'll find out in the little clip why I only used the outer piece. So that's in there. That's really good information for those of you that like quilting, doing the finished quilting with your embroidery machine, because just like with any type of quilting, it can really, you can really work on the fly, as it were, and change your mind, do things a little differently if you want. And I talk about that when I'm doing the quilting. So there's the bigger piece, film piece, about what you're going to make and how you're going to lay it out and put it together, and how you're going to hoop it, all of that. And then there's a piece on the quilting, the finished quilting, and on making the envelope backing. If you need to watch the how-to pieces for how to create your double square or your corner units, I am going to link this video for you so that you can watch them from that video, okay? So those are on there as well. And we also used just one corner. You see all these little corners? These are just half of these corner units. And in the part of my video where I tell you about what you created and how you hoop it, I talk to you about how you make that, because it's super simple. Basically, you just make the first half and stop, move it somewhere else onto your stabilizer, make the next one stop, because you can get all 4 of these in one hooping with your 5 by 7. So you don't have a lot of hoopings in this, but that is all in that part of the video for you. Let's see, what else is there about this little guy? Oh, and I use that birdie bird batting that we've talked about in the past because I still have some of it left. I'm trying to get it through it, and I'm using it for all of these smaller, excuse me. I'm using it for all of these smaller patterns and projects, and it worked out really good. I like it. In fact, I really like it for this because remember, it has that felted backing on it. It was nice. It gives like an extra little layer. Now, in this case, that extra little layer is nice because it's going to help to keep heat from going through as much when you're putting your mugs and stuff on it. And you can see, so this mug, my coffee mug, holds 14 ounces all the way to the brim. So I have a 12-inch coffee, usually, or 12-inch. I'm so goofy. 12-ounce coffee. I'm sorry. My brain is not working. I'm just like, it's just pulsating right here. A 12-ounce coffee. And then I have like a little tablespoon of oat milk creamer in there. And so my coffee and creamer come up to about here. So if you did like a 13-ounce, I could get more in there, but 14 is right to the top. Anyway, you probably don't care about that. But this is a big mug, is what I'm saying. And when I put it on the mug rug, look, there's plenty of space. And what I love about this is I have plenty of space to set it around. I don't have to I don't like tiny mug rugs because those little rectangular ones are so stinking cute, but they will not hold my mugs. And so I like bigger ones. And I found out I like the shape that I created for this. You can do it so it's kind of square, but I made it so that it kind of looks like it's on point, because remember, we've been talking about doing things on point. So, yep, there we go. So I really liked how that turned out. And it was a fun little piece to make. All right, everybody. So all of those videos are coming up here at the end. And you will need from your Spinning Argyle Diamond Pattern set. Let me grab that piece. I set everything down over here and somebody came along and messed up my stuff. There's one more thing I want to show you here. Ah, there it is. Okay. So you're going to need the cut sheet. And you're going to be using the 10-inch block segment pieces. Those are the ones you're going to cut, okay? And you're going to make 4 of these and 4 of these. Whoops, 4 of these, and then 4 of just the one corner. Okay, I've got that information for you typed out in the description below so that you can write that down if you need to, just exactly how many of each of these pieces you need to make. So it goes really quickly. I think I had this whole thing done, including the quilting, in about maybe an hour and a half, because, you know, I was doing other stuff too. So it's a pretty quick little project, but it would be nice to make like a whole grouping of these, tie a nice ribbon about them, something maybe to give as a holiday gift. You guys, you know, there's that old saying, and my dad used to always tell me this when I was little. He said, I always love your handmade gifts more than anything else that you could buy me. And for my dad, that was a true, honest saying. He wasn't just shining you on when he said that. And sometimes my dad liked to shine you on, but I always knew that came from his heart. And I agree with that. If someone goes to the trouble to make something for me, I will hold on to that forever. I will never give away a gift or sell a gift in a yard sale or anything like that, because someone has thought enough to do that for me, to give me a gift. And when they're handmade, they're even better. So maybe make up a set of 4 or 6 of these and wrap them up and give them as a gift. Maybe you're going to do a white elephant or something with your quilting group. Maybe you're a part of a quilting guild. Something like that for a white elephant kind of a thing would be fun, I think. And you could do like each one in different colors, so people can like always like, I know I'll have the pink one and he'll have the green one and she'll have the purple one or whatever. But you need 3 fabric colors. And what I chose in here is Moda Grunge, red and purple, and then this yellow with the little triangles on it, the bitty print. And that's the same print here. Guys, I'm sorry. I don't know if my camera keeps changing the light perspective or not, but it looks to me like it might be. If it is, I apologize. This is that new camera that I'm still testing out. So if it's causing a lot of problems, you can let me know in the comments. All right, everybody. So that is the project for this week. The spinning mug rug. Woo, spinning mug rug. I think they're fun. If you have some friends, get together and make a bunch together even. That would be fun too. All righty. So if you need to get the pattern, because you don't have your Spinning Argyle Diamond package yet, you're going to get 3 sizes in there, 6x6, 8x8, and 10x10. To make this project, you need to use, like I just said, the 10x10 segment pieces. You get all of your instructions. The video is out there with all the how-to videos on there. And that is available at our website, sewincommon.com, along with all of our other patterns, along with the free Riley Blake pattern set for the block challenge. I translated all those blocks from the challenge into the Build a Quilt system. So all of that is available out there as well. Now, remember, I have the videos coming, but I wanted just to touch base and remind you that this Wednesday, we have our second Wednesday Live. Were you with us for Wednesday Live last week? I had a great time. I got some great feedback from you folks. So I love that you liked coming to the live. So we're keeping it going. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell all your quilty friends to join us at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday evening for Wednesday Workshop Live. You do not have to sign up or anything like that. This week, though, we're starting a new project called Stars and Diamonds. And that pattern set is going to be available on Wednesday, sometime during the day. And then for sure, we're going to talk about it and all of that during workshop. And let me just remind you, 2 people last week won that pattern for free, because each Wednesday night we have a question of the week. And I have to admit, they're kind of hard. What's your favorite color? That can be hard. Figuring that out can be hard. Or how long have you been quilting? Are you brand new? Have you never quilted with Build a Quilt before? That was last week's question. So some pretty tough questions there. But in the comments as we're working on our pieces, if you answer those questions, then you're in the drawing at the end of the night for something, right? And so this last week, it was the Hearts, Stars and Diamonds pattern, and that's going out to 2 people on Saturday who won. And I had a great time, and apparently so did you guys. So that's great. So join us. If you can't join us because, you know, maybe that time for you just doesn't work out, the video is always available. Go into the live link here on YouTube, you know, the tabs across it, go to the live, and it's in there. So if you want to see what we did Wednesday night and get ready for this Wednesday night, there was really nothing to prep for. Wednesday night, we really talked mostly about Miss HST, Miss Half Square Triangle, the mama block of all patchwork. That's what we talked about Wednesday night and demoed. But we'll be demoing because this week the Stars and Diamonds pattern is part of a new collection I've started called My First Build a Quilt. Different projects from smaller to bigger. But what they do is they help you learn how to use the Build a Quilt system. And for Stars and Diamonds, we're starting out, you're going to be learning, I think it was 5 or 6 segment pieces. So if you're brand new, this is a great way to jump in and really learn how to do these. And if you're more experienced and you've been doing Build a Quilt for a while, these are great patterns to have just because the patterns are cool. They're great ones to add into your library of patterns and segment pieces. And so there will be more designs and more patterns coming out in the My First Build a Quilt collection, but we're starting out with our very first one, Stars and Diamonds, on Wednesday night. We talked last month about putting things on point and corners. And I think I've told you all already that we have a corner collection coming out so that to help you put different blocks on point. I've received back all of the testers' information except from one tester who had not her fault at all. She had a family emergency and had to step away from doing the testing. I completely understand that. Things happen, right? And I wish her the very best in her family. In fact, I've heard back from her. Her family member is doing better. So I'm glad to hear that. But she's going to have to step away for a little while because she needs to give some care and stuff. And so Sheila, I know you don't mind my saying your first name. All the best to you and your family. Really, my heartfelt prayers and thoughts go out to you that everything is going to be okay. Everything's going to work out great. But what that means is I now need to go and do her segments for her that she was going to test. And that's going to take me. I was going to have this collection out by the 30th. I think I need to bump it into July 5th, around the July 15th timeframe, only because now I have to do those segments and I'm in the middle of gathering all the information and writing out all the patterns and stuff. So, but that is coming and that will allow you to put lots of blocks on point, and an on point quilt is such a beautiful thing. And I think probably later in the year, we might try doing an on point, either a runner or a wall quilt or something like that. I'm thinking maybe even a lap quilt, because I just think the on point stuff is beautiful. But that might be something. If we don't do it this year, I'm pretty sure we're going to do one next year because I'm itching to kind of do one myself. So I always get to choose some of the things I like to do, don't I? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today for Quilt Lab. Thank you for allowing it to come out a couple days later because on Sunday we got to celebrate and honor all the dads. And it's just a gentleman's day in our family. So because all the guys in our family, if we have to throw the babies at them, they all take care of them, whether they're the dads, the uncles, the brothers, anything like that. So it was a great day. I hope you all had a great time as well, whether you were celebrating with someone or you just had that time now to do something for yourself. But please, folks, if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button. I would love to have you as part of the Sew in Common family. We have lots of fun, and it gives me great joy to bring quilting to anyone and everyone that wants to be able to do it in a slightly easier, less stressful format than it can be in some of our traditional methods. And I've been quilting for decades and decades, over 5 decades, and I can tell you this is a little bit more of a relaxed way to do our patchwork. So I'm thrilled to bring that to you. So please subscribe, click the little bell to set your notifications. And as always, I highly, highly appreciate when you guys like and share. So please like and share the videos. That really helps others to find us here at Sew Uncommon and join in the fun. All right, everybody. The demo videos are coming now. If you have questions, of course, drop them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer those for you. Until next time, everybody, go sew life beautiful. Bye for now.
Okay, hi everybody, Diana here. So we are over at the cutting table. So you kind of see a little bit of different part of my room. Yes, it's a little bit dark because I've got my one light on so we can get some light in here, but it's a little bit dark and I apologize, but it's so hot in here that I can't turn the overhead light on, or it's so warm it makes me kind of sick. So sorry about that, guys. But we're here at the work table because for this week's project, I want to walk you through, or I kind of want to show you it in the stabilizer before I cut it out, and then I want to talk to you about the layout. So this portion will be a little bit longer than the like 2 or 3 minute little segments I normally give. And then there will be the, I've re-added the, oh, it looks like, hi guys. I thought we were already recording. It said we were, and now it's, okay. And now it says we are. So I'm going to start this over again. If you have been hearing this, I'm sorry I'm starting over, but my recording thing just popped up with saying it had just started again. So I don't know what happened. I think the hot weather is like making things go crazy. Dave's been having a horrible time with his computer all day. He decided to stay home to work today because I needed the car for a while this morning. And it's just been crazy. And I know it's a little darker in here, but it's so hot in here that if I turn the overhead light on, I get sick. It's just, that's how hot it is. I even have one of Dave's old cotton work shirts on just to try and stay a little bit cooler. So in this section, it's going to be a little bit longer than the normal like 5-minute segment pieces because I want to show you the segments in the stabilizer, and I want to cut them out while you guys watch, because this piece, as you can see, here's the graphic. It's a little bit different shape. Now everything is still made with squares and triangles like normal, but I want to talk about the layout, and then I want to show you how I was able to do multiples in a hooping, a single 5x7 hooping. I didn't use a larger hoop. I know some of you after Wednesday night's workshop had asked how many like can I get into a single hooping, and that really depends on the segment size. But on the segment size for this, I was able to get anywhere from 2 to 4 segments in. Excuse me, just 1 minute. I'm going to get a tissue because I'm about to sneeze. Oh, I do apologize, guys. Oh, I'm so sorry. Allergies. Oh my gosh, I was out today for a while, like I said, and so I think, I got more allergens in my nose. Anyway, so I've got my 3x12 ruler, and I've got my pinking shear rotary cutter. There, looks better when I hold it with my left hand. That's the hand I use. And so I want us to talk about that. So this is this month's block, the Spinning Argyle Diamond. And we are using, so like last week, this was last week's block where we used May's Blooming Star pieces and the Spinning Argyle Diamond in here to make this block. Well, this week to make our mug rug, we are only using pieces from the Spinning Argyle Diamond. So I hope you're understanding that with these sets, you can make different things just depending on how you put the segment pieces together. And we talked about that a little bit on Wednesday during Wednesday Workshop Live, which was so much fun. I just loved it. But I wanted to show you that because what we're using is we're using just 2 squares of the 4 patch, and we're using this corner in 2 ways. We're making the full corner, and then we're making just the triangle from the corner. And I want to show you that. Alrighty. So I'm going to bring, here are all of my segment pieces in the stabilizer, and I'm going to flip over to the other camera so you can see it from the top down now. There we go. Okay. Oh, some sun's still coming in. You can kind of see it. All right, so let's start. I had 2 hoopings to make my double squares, and I need to make 4 double squares. I'm not using them as a 4 patch though. So here is our design. We're using them on these outer boundary edges. So we basically end up with a pinwheel in the middle that we make from those corners. And then we have the triangles that we're doing separately as well. So you need to make 4 double corners or 4 double squares. And here they are. So when I trim these out, because they're just, I made 1 here and then just moved my design down in the hoop to make my second one, these sides line up with one another. So it makes it super easy. I just put my 1/4 inch mark of my ruler on the line here at the top and on the line at the bottom, and they're in the same place. And then I just cut. There we go. And now both sides done at 1. As judicious as I like to be with how many I get in a hoop, I also like to be judicious with how many cuts I have to make sometimes, because there is, you know, repetitive stress on your hands. And you guys know I've had carpal tunnel surgery in the past. So I like to get those and do as few cuts as I need to. Now, I'm going to go across. I'm going to do this one and then this one. And then when I flip them, I'll do the other 2 sides. So I can't do these in multiples because none of the lines line up like those sides do. But I always look to see if my sides line up like that. And then I start cutting them out. So I just have this side. Alrighty. So there's one of my 2-bys. Now I'm going to do this one, and I'm just lining up my 1/4 inch mark on my line, my stitch line. There's one. Flip it, line it up again. And you can see, so this rotary cutter, this pinking blade, and they tend to, I know, typically dull sooner than our normal blades. But I've had this blade in there for 3 or 4 months now, and it's still cutting just fine. No jagged edges, nothing like that. Okay. Now I've got the other one like this. So again, I'm going to do my 2 sides first. Just line up. I'm actually going to pop my magnifiers on so I can see. They do make a funny noise, those pinking blades, though. They remind me of little hamster wheel cages, you know, the little hamster wheels when they go around and squeak. Alrighty. Now, I will say these pieces, that size, I actually save these. I'm putting them over to the side, but I'm actually saving these because these can be used in mosaic quilting, like we did with the tulips a couple of months ago. And there's going to be some more mosaic patterns coming out. I hope to do at least 1 more set for you all this summer, because so many of you like those and wrote in and said how much you love them. And I love them too. I think that type of quilting is really lovely. And so I hope to do more of those. So let me just do my final one here. And then I will show you the next segment and how I'm going to get it out of the stabilizer. Oops. That one did catch. Okay, so maybe my thing is getting older than I thought. Nope, yeah, that's pretty good. Alrighty, so there are my 4 double squares, and those get laid out like one will be here, one will be, they basically touch at their points there like that. So that's going to be the double squares. Okay, now let's take, these are our corners. Now, guys, I really gave you really large, oversized pieces. You can cut these pieces down. I'm not quite sure why I cut my triangles this big, but I did. I'm really generous usually with the cuts, but even for me, that's a little extra large. So if you want to cut those down, you can. Now, on this one, because they line up here again on this one side, I can do a single cut on this one side. But I never consider, even if I have large pieces, I never consider a fabric. I never consider this waste, because again, that can be used in mosaic quilting. All right, now these aren't going to line up, but I can do these really easily. Line up again. And so on these corners like this, I was able to get 2 in a hooping. Now, if I had thought about it, and to be honest, I didn't think about it, so I only got 2 in a hooping, but I think you might be able to end up with 3 in a hooping of these. I just did these when I got home from my appointment the other day, and I was a little bit tired, and so I just, oh yeah, maybe I do need a new. There we go. So there's 1. 2. All right, so there's 2 of my double triangle corners. Here is my other set of 2, because you make 4 of these, and these are going to end up making the pinwheel. Isn't that freaky? How normally we make pinwheels with our half square triangles. Well, we're going to make a pinwheel with these, and that's another scenario for if you don't have your, say you're going somewhere and you're going to be doing something, and you have this pattern with you, this file for those corners, and you for some reason don't have a half square triangle pattern, which I really can't believe you wouldn't, but if you don't, you could still, you need to make pinwheels, you can still do them with these corners. So it's great that with segments, sometimes they can be interchanged for one another to make the same blocks, the same finished size blocks and stuff. All right, so I'm just lining all those up. There's that one, and I'm going to show you how this all gets set up here in a minute, and then I will show you the final layout here when we're done cutting all these out. Alrighty, so here when I put these together, I just instead of doing them where they go out and they make the star points like they do in or the points here like they do in the monthly block. Instead, I turn them in on one another. And just like that, I have a pinwheel. Isn't that cool? And you can see, like, there would be a half square triangle, there would be a half square, there would be a half square, and there would be a half square. But with those 4 corners, you can also make yourself a pinwheel. So if you like making these more than half squares or anything like that, but you always have that now as an option, which I love. So then I was able to get all 4 of my single corners, my triangles, in one hooping. But I want to talk to you about this. There is no way for me to cut any of these like I was doing these others. This is going to take a little bit more kind of finagling to get these out of here. But I want to talk to you about this. When you do these, you are going to do step 1, and you can, let me see, can you see right there? that thread is because you have to do your first piece. So you're going to get a little thread that you don't use. Don't worry about it. And then you are going to do the second step, which gives you your triangle, and then lay your fabric and do your next step. And that's as far as you go. Then you reset the pattern and start on your next one. Reset the pattern and start on your next one. 1, 2, yeah, I have 4 of them in here, and you're going to make 4 of these. Now you could do 2 in a hooping if you want, but you can do all 4 of these in a single 5x7 hooping. I just kind of staggered them a little bit. So I'm just going to go in here, and any of the spots that are super easy to cut, meaning, you know, I'm not going to be running into any of the other parts of any of the other triangles, I'll do those right first. So there's where I want to cut. So I'm going to line that up. This takes just a little bit of thinking. Now I don't want to pull back all the way into here and cut into that one, but I can start right there and cut that and get that done. And then I can come over here and just cut that part off. So I'm having to think about these just a little bit. All right, so I can do this one, this edge. It's kind of like undoing a jigsaw puzzle a little bit with this, with these, because of the way I staggered them. When you stagger pieces, it's perfectly okay, but a lot of times you don't get seams that line up where you can do a single cut and get, you know, most of them done at one time. So, all right, so that comes off, and there's one. Actually, yeah, there's one. Now I am going to do, okay, I can do this one and not hit anything else. That's good. Okay. And now I've got a single one here. I can go ahead and just cut this one out. But remember, you're only going to do the first triangle and then stop and reset the pattern, because all you need are these little triangles. You don't need the whole double corner. And you can also do that with these segment pieces as well. Sometimes it's like if you have our basic set 2, if you bought that one when it was still available, and you have the split rail, you know that you can do the split rail as a single rectangle or as the double split rail. You just stop or complete it depending on what you need. If you need the whole double split rail, then you would do both of them. And if you need the single, you just do the first rectangle part of it, and then you have a rectangle. But that's the nice thing about Build-A-Quilt. You can use these in different ways. Right, I'm going to go ahead and cut right through that and get that tail off. There's that one. There are 3 of them. Now I'm just going to finish cutting this one out, and then I can lay out the whole piece for you. Alrighty. Okay. Now I'm done with that. I'll set those aside. Got that. Let me throw the stabilizer away. Alrighty, so here are all of our segment pieces now. All right, so, and here is our graphic. I'm going to lay these, there we go. I'm going to lay these back out. And this one should go there. Okay. So that's where the 4 of them go. Now I'm going to put a triangle in each one of those places, and that finishes off the edge. So when you go to do your binding on this, you'll bind up a side, and then you'll bind a side, and you'll just work your way around it. They're flat sides. You don't have any interior corners like we had with the Aurora runner. So you can do that just like you would do any other binding. Now, I'm going to lay this one here. Sometimes I have to spread these out a little bit, give yourself some room. And these all go because you've got your seam fabric still causing a little bit of room there. Okay. So there it is. Now I can bring these in. Oops. Bring these in and bring these in. There we go. And there is our mug rug. And this turns out to be like a 7 by something mug rug. I love it. It's a great size when it's done. I mean, that could even be like a little doily, almost like for a vase of flowers or something like that. But I think I love big mug rugs because that way I have more than just, I don't have to put my big mug. Let me grab my mug, by the way. I still have it over here. Probably got some old manky coffee in it, so we'll just cover that up with my hand. But so I can put it there, or it might hit here, or it might hit over here. But this is a pretty big mug. It holds about 13, 14 ounces in total. And so it's pretty big. So I don't like those little mug rugs that are just about this big and you've got to be like right on. Otherwise you miss them. I like to have some space for my nice big mug rug. This is also nice if you wanted to like put a bowl of soup on it, something like that, on a tray. Maybe somebody was ill or something, or you just wanted to be a little bit fancy. We like fancy, right? So this is our layout. Now, when you go to put this together, let's do our blown out version so we can kind of see it here a little bit better. The first thing I want you to do is put your pinwheel together. So these two together and these two, and then your two halves together. Then your pinwheel's done. And then add that one to one side, that one to the next. That's your middle row. Then you're going to take this one and add your corners to each side, and this one and add your corners to each side, and then add that row to the top of the middle and this row to the bottom of the middle, and you will end up with that beautiful looking design and mug rug. Pretty easy, but I know it can get confusing a little bit to see these because we didn't use half square triangles here. We use these corner units and we have to add these in. So if you just started sewing stuff together, these are technically interior seams here, but because we're doing them in rows, you don't have to worry about, there is no interior seam that you have to worry about. You're still only sewing rows. Okay, and just like on your pinwheel, let's walk through that a little bit again, because I know some of you are new. So you take two of the corners and you sew a dark to a light, and then on the other side you sew a dark side to a light side. That gives you two larger corner units. Now think about that. Now you have two larger corner units that you could use on on a larger square, maybe to put it on point like we talked about last month. But this gives you like a whole nother segment piece. And then you take these two halves and you just do one seam down the center. And then you can put your rows together. And remember, on all of them, you're just going to stitch down your row, your stitch line, and that will give you the perfect seam. You don't have to worry about using a 1/4 inch foot or anything like that. Then you're going to add your batting underneath it and your backing fabric, and then you will be ready to do your quilting. And that video will come up at the end after the how-tos and all of that, okay? All right, everybody, let's go on to the next video. Enjoy.
Okay, everybody, here we are at my machine and I'm getting ready to do my finished quilting. Now, you'll notice I have batting and my top. And here is my template for the quilting design that I chose. And all you have to do is choose any kind of quilting design you want. You can choose one for all over quilting as far as like stippling or anything you want. I have this medallion one in my collection, and so I chose to use it. I really love it. I think it's beautiful. Now, in case you haven't done this with us before, let me tell you how you want to measure to figure out the size of your quilting design. If you just want to use one design, you could possibly do a half and half and do 2 hoopings. But if you can do it in 1 hooping, I say go for it, of course. Much easier. So when you're deciding your quilting design, you always want to measure inside of your stitched lines. Now, normally we have a square or a rectangle. That's pretty simple to figure out. In this case, we actually have this way and this way is going to be might be slightly different than this longer way. So this longer way, I have just right on 7 inches. But when I go this way, yeah, I have like 6 5/8 and 6 5/8. So these are my shorter sides. So I want to use basically that number to figure out what size I want my design to be. And I always go about half an inch smaller because when I do a medallion like this, because I don't want the medallion getting covered up out in here or with my binding. So I have gone to 6 1/4 inches all the way around for the 6 1/4 by 6 1/4, and it's going to fit in beautifully. You can see I have that little bit about a half an inch there that I can will have space for. And if you'll notice here, I do not have my backing fabric on here. I apologize, guys. I have got an allergy migraine coming on, so I'm trying to keep my thoughts straight. It's a little bit difficult today. So I don't have backing fabric because I'm going to use an envelope backing to finish this. I'm not going to bind it. I think binding something this small is not worth my time, especially for a mug rug. So I will be doing a envelope backing for that. So let me just go ahead and place this back into my machine. I have my design up here on my machine, and I've gone ahead and moved it so that it's right in the center. So I know it's where I want it to be. And I'm just going to lift off my template and slide that out. And I've kept my backing paper. So you have kind of a dull side and a shiny side. I put it on the shiny side. And now I can reuse this template several more times with no problem at all. I'm sorry, it seems like my camera keeps flashing light to dark, light to dark. I apologize for that. I'm not sure what's causing that. But now I'm just going to go ahead and hit start. I have turned down my speed to 500 stitches per minute. I don't like to race through the quilting. When you're doing more intricate stitching, the faster you go, the more likely you are to have a problem. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm down at 500 stitches a minute, and this is still only going to take roughly 6 minutes to stitch out. So that's not a problem either. I can do other things. And I'm using a nice deep purple embroidery thread. I'm just using a polyester embroidery thread, and I am using just my white bobbin thread because this is going to get covered with the backing fabric in the envelope backing. Not a problem there at all. So let's go ahead. It's going to go ahead and start now. And I always like to keep an eye on my pieces. Now this particular piece, this quilting, is a piece that has a lot of overstitching on it. To me, that is not a well designed quilting stitch. It's really kind of trying to bubble on me. I'm going to have to hold this a little bit. I think getting over some of the bigger seams made that want to do that, but I think we're still okay. It doesn't seem to have moved it out of place. But a design like this that has all this overstitching, in my opinion, is not a well-designed design for quilting. It's designed by somebody who doesn't really understand quilting a whole lot. This would be beautiful stitched out. Now that I'm doing it, I mean, it's still turning out okay. I think it's lovely, but I will not use this again for a finished quilting. because the overstitching is just overkill on this. Maybe I will resave it and I will see if I can save it as a single run stitch, but because I didn't design it, I might not have the ability to do that, which is too bad because the overall design is very pretty. What I might do, it seems to be working around the outside design. I might stop it. I might not do the interior design. I might just go ahead and stitch this with this overall outside design. That would still give me plenty of quilting effect for a mug rug this small. And so you can see one thing with quilting is being able to make decisions on the fly about how you want things to go. And you would do this if you were quilting with your sewing machine. You do this when you quilt by hand. And of course you do it when you quilt with your embroidery machine. And although I like this design, I'm not sure that I like how it is stitching out. This is causing a lot of pushing and pulling, which is another reason you always want plenty of fabric outside of your hoop, so that if it pushes and pulls, you'll still have something for your hoop to grab onto. But I suspect that once this gets around to here and stops this first pattern, I'm going to stop it. I'm not going to do the interior part of this because this is not stitching the way I want it to. But it's a pretty design, so I still like it. I'm still glad I chose it, but I don't think I'm going to do the interior piece. I'm just going to do this outer, and there's plenty of stitching on here, given that this is an over stitch design, that it will be plenty of quilting for a piece this small. I can even tell that my machine is not liking this pattern a whole lot either. So, but I still think it's going to be beautiful. So I'm almost done with this outer piece. And once that's done, I think I'm going to stop, and that's all the quilting I'm going to do. So when you're choosing a quilting design, choosing a design that has a single run stitch is far better than a design that has multiple overruns. Let me see. I'm just stopping to see if I'm done there. I'm going to see if I need to do just to finish up a little bit more. I think there might be just a little bit more in here. Okay. Now I'm stopping. I'm done. Okay. So all I did was this outer piece, and I think that's plenty of quilting, and it really turned out quite lovely. There are a few stitches right here that I let it go past because I wanted to see if I was done, and I'm just clipping those right now, and I'm just going to pull those right out. And I'm just using the tip of my scissors to do that. Great. Now I'm finished with what I want for my quilting. You can see that's how it ended up quilted on the back. Now I'll take this off and I will go over to my cutting board, and I'm going to cut it out all the way around, and then I'll cut my backing fabric and do an envelope backing, and that will finish it up. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and move on. Okay, folks, here we are, and we're going to talk about doing an envelope backing. Now, if you want to finish your mug rug with binding, you're free to do that, but it's really much simpler, and I think it's really much more efficient to do an envelope backing for projects this small, but it's entirely up to you. As always, it's your piece. So here's my piece after I did the quilting. Now I've chosen the yellow that I used in the mug rug for my backing fabric, and I've cut 2 squares 11 by 11 inches. You always want them to be a few inches bigger than your overall size, because the next thing, I've given a little press, we're going to fold these in half with the pretty side facing outward, okay? Just like that. I'm going to fold both of them. Alrighty. Now, I want to lay them out where I have roughly, let me get my my ruler here. You want roughly 2 inches of overlap on these two pieces. And if I lay this down here, I see that I have plenty of room all the way around. So what I want to do is I want to lay it right side down, right? Just right side down. And then I'm going to actually come in here and I'm going to just trim away about 1/4 of an inch all the way around of that batting. I use that birdie bird batting that is 2 layers thick, and that's just too much. So I'm going to come in here and trim a little away because I don't want my seams when I turn it inside out to be super thick. And there's also another reason, which I'll show you here in a minute. A little trick for you doing your cutting or doing your sewing. And you can see I'm just doing it on my own. I'm not really measuring. I'm kind of seeing like where is my stitch line here. And then I'm coming in and I'm just making that cut across. Doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, perfect is the enemy of beautiful and good. You spend more energy and time trying to be perfect when something is perfectly beautiful and good, just the way it is. That's the way I think about it anyway. All right, and I've got one more edge here that I want to cut. Okay, now when I lay this down here, as you can see, I can, oops, actually I've got a couple more edges. Almost missed those. Just finish those off. And one more. Here we go. And then we'll be done. Perfect. Now, you can see that now I can see my stitching line all the way around here. So when I go over to my sewing machine, all I have to do is start on my line and just stitch it all the way around on that line. The batting won't get in the way, it won't cause trouble, and then I will trim off all of the outside fabric and flip it inside out and it'll be perfect. So let me go do that now and I'll come back. Okay, we're back. So I went ahead and I stitched around, and there I have my beautiful mug rug. I still need to press out my seams just a little bit, but it turned out great. And you can see in the back that you've got a nice little overhang so it lays flat. Now, if you like it, if you don't like envelope backings because they tend to pop open, try this product, Steam a Seam 2. It's just a little bit of backing. It's great like when you're putting on zippers and stuff. Just take a piece, about almost as wide as your seam or your opening. Then you just peel the backing off. There we go. And then you just, one side of it is a little bit sticky. So I just put it in under that seam. Press that down. Now I'm going to go press this quick. Okay, so I pressed that down, and as you can see now, this is all nice and closed up and you don't have that gap there. And so that is a product called Steam a Seam 2. There are other products out there on the market like this. It's the 1/4 inch. That's the one I have. I've had this one package probably, oh golly, probably 4 or 5 years because I don't use it on everything, but when I need it, and it's perfect for closing off your mug rugs. So I hope you have enjoyed this project. These would be great to make as gifts. These would be great to make several of them, keep in your living room so everyone always has a mug rug for their cups and glasses and things like that. So give that a try. I hope you've enjoyed it.